Another question that just popped in my head: how many members are in Humanity Plus? What's the size of the organization currently in February of 2009?
There are over 5,500 people who have signed up as a member. Okay. Now, this is on the WTA website, and we're going to have a slightly different membership approach on Humanity Plus. But of those 5,500 people, then there are a few hundred who are actually providing financial support through donations and dues. Oh. And then the rest of them are various levels of activities, including those who have signed up for announcements and the email newsletter.
Yeah, now I promised I might ask a couple of questions about space exploration. Is that you are heavily involved with the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. How are things going out there on the Red Planet lately? You know, the latest news I saw was that Spirit, the one rover, had lost a little power. But also I noticed a story last week about hot springs, past hot springs perhaps being seen on Mars, but that's not any active hot springs, right?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And how? Yeah, go ahead.
These are researchers who, we have this incredible data set. We have terabytes of data, of high-resolution images of Mars. And so people outside of our team, the Mars community, and even the public are beginning to look at this data and try to come to some conclusions. So that was a perfect example of other scientists outside of our team looking at the data and seeing evidence for this activity in the past. Until we can get there, you know, with our shovels and our brushes and such, it's often hard to say whether something is truly supported, whether it truly is the case or not. Right. We often think we see things at a zoomed out scale that prove to be somehow different when you get up close. But there's that. There's also this idea that there might be geysers on Mars, very alien type of geysers that are on the poles, and they get fired up every spring as the pole begins to move into the sun. You may have heard about the methane.
Yes, the methane. What's the latest? What's the latest on the methane situation? I know that there's a big debate going on yet, and that there was a recent release of some data that it's kind of indicated more toward the biomethane scenario, I thought.
So that was actually there really was no leaning towards. That was unfortunately the mainstream media ran with that particular option, and so there really is no clear evidence.
Just that there were hot spots, right? There's hot spots of methane.
Exactly, and those can be formed in a number of different ways. Now, certainly, it's going to be interesting to explore further and find out if they are biotic in nature, but I'm actually as interested if they turn out to be abiotic, because I think that has some interesting implications for planetary science overall.
Sure, yeah. I see someone asked about speculative space exploration techniques, as far as people in the past have thought about using a catapult, a space catapult, to launch spaceships into orbit, but you know, it would just take too big of a construction effort to actually do that. But ModelCat, who's in the chat there, asked about launching tiny, small, little probes into space. Have you heard anything about that in the NASA community or the space community about?
Yeah, so NASA is working on what they call nano, but is really more like basketball-sized satellites.
Oh, okay.
And there are other research efforts to try to shrink the size and to make them more of a commodity. A lot of the expense, of course, is in just launching these things, but also in creating basically a brand new satellite every time you need one, or a brand new spacecraft every time you need one. There really is no Model T production of spacecraft. So hopefully we can do both. Somehow bring down the price of just launching into orbit, and then also creating platforms that can be just modified as needed for the specific.
Yeah, it's like having a base platform satellite that you can just add certain instruments or take certain instruments off, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time, right? Yeah.
That's right, but currently we reinvent the wheel every time. So
yeah,
sure. I mean, we learn lessons from previous spacecraft, of course.
Yeah, we certainly do. But yeah, and how is the? I was disappointed to hear that with the new rocket. What is that? The Ares 5 rocket that they're creating, the new large launch platform that NASA is working on. Sounds like last I heard it was 2018. Complete.
Yeah.
Potential.
I mean, that is the problem with developing new technology. You can be cutting edge, but sometimes things take longer as you try to design these more complex systems. I don't really know what the solution for that is going to be. We do eventually have to retire the space shuttle program, and we're going to need other solutions. But it remains a difficult problem, and I hope that science and technology, if there really is an acceleration going on, will also be applied to space travel and aerospace, and can provide some solutions.
Right. Yeah, any other interesting space exploration that you have been keeping your eye on just recently in the last couple of months? Any new satellites going up that you think will provide some very unique data, some very interesting things?
Well, the Kepler mission is going to be looking for Earth-sized planets around other stars, and that's very exciting. You may have heard the news this week that some scientists believe there are hundreds of billions of Earth-sized planets just in our own galaxy, and Kepler will go a long way towards showing whether that is true or not. I mean, all indications are planets are everywhere. They are very easy to form, and they're just everywhere in the galaxy.
Yeah, which again brings up the Fermi paradox. It brings it right into our faces once again. If there's billions of planets out there, Earth-sized rocky planets orbiting stars like ours, where the heck are all the aliens?
There was a recent look into that suggests that yes, there are all of these intelligent civilizations that are being created that have evolved, but the time horizon you have to actually get two of them communicating is very short before they've moved on technologically, and so it may just be we're just missing them. They're all over the place, but we're all missing each other because we're developing at completely different times.
Sure. Yeah, and different technologies pointing our listening devices in the wrong direction, and sending our signals out in the wrong direction. Well, tell you what, it's been a great interview tonight, Richard. I just want to give you an opportunity here to, again, give us a little summary of how things are going to shape up with Humanity Plus in 2009, what we can look forward to.
What we need to do right now is finish the new website and getting that launched with some good content, and then we're going to look forward to a budget and perhaps a fundraising effort to begin to explore an expanded website. This is one version of the website, but web technologies are changing so quickly that we're going to want to keep up with that. So we hope to have a stage 2 Humanity Plus website at some point. And then some of the projects we're looking at, we're of course very interested in having another convergence event, and perhaps participating in an international conference as well. And then just exploring what our goals are going to be. What do we want to be when we grow up? That is the Humanity Plus organization. So we'll be doing a lot of that exploration this year.
Yeah, let us know about the conferences as well. As you know, WTA and IMINST collaborated on Convergence last year, and we'd love to do that again. And I was hoping to get a little European conference going for some of our members, so perhaps that is another way. You mentioned international conference. I mean, something to keep in mind. I'm hoping that we can work together in the future again. So, hey, Richard, I want to thank you very much for appearing on the show here, the Sunday Evening Update on this February 15th. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You too.
There you have it, Richard Leis. Yes, former director and treasurer of